And here we are. Hello, hello. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the stream. Did that pop up? It did pop up. Huzzah! Streamcore's working. Everything else should be stable. YouTube's the one that runs into issues. It's been a couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks. Wow. So, hi. Hi. I'm streaming again today. It's been a little while. It's been a tough little while. It has been a long time. That looks surprisingly like static from this angle. I like it. I like how that turned out. So, to start with, I have not been sick. I have not had... There's been nothing wrong with me personally that caused this unexpected hiatus. So that's the good news. I missed my birthday stream last week. I was planning on doing another concert, and I wasn't up to it, and haven't been playing games at all, really. So, but here we are. We're figuring things out. I don't even know where to start talking about this. So let's start with the simple. I've been gone these last 2 weeks-ish because my grandmother died 2 weeks ago tomorrow. It was unexpected. It was fast. She didn't go into the hospital at all. That's I was going bowling with my family that day, and my dad went to pick her up because we invited her to come watch, and he found her dead. Outside the house. And that's really how it all started. I hadn't streamed that day because I wasn't feeling very good, and I wanted to go bowling with the family. And so I skipped the stream to let myself nap longer and preserve my energy to go bowling. Turned out going bowling was probably the best choice I possibly could have made, because otherwise I would have been home alone to get that news. And I have no idea how I would have responded. So yeah, that's this 2 weeks. But then also just before Christmas. Yeah, it is good I was together with people. It is good I was together with people. My sister-in-law was home alone feeling sick that day, and I have no idea how she responded, but I was gonna talking about my grandpa then. So just before Christmas of 2022, my grandpa died. My grandpa passed away as well. And and so in a period of about 6 weeks, I went from having 2 grandparents left to having no grandparents left. Grandpa wasn't quite as hard, as you could probably tell by the fact that I was so willing to... I mean, it was still hard, but it was different. As you can probably tell based on the fact that I pushed straight into streaming that week, the week of his funeral. I suppose I'm doing the same here. It's the... Yeah, I suppose I'm doing the same here, but here we are. Yeah, there's a level of sticking to routine that definitely helps, but there's also a point where I just knew I was not going to be entertaining last week, and that's why I canceled my streams. That's why I might not even be streaming tomorrow. Although tomorrow might just be that I'm doing some work with the family. But it's yeah. I spoke at both of their funerals. It's a hard thought inside of me that I don't know. I'm gonna turn off my bot. I don't want that chat. I don't want those chats today. Remind me to turn the bot chats back on after stream today. Thanks. How do I disable? Show disable timers. How do I disable? I don't know. Never mind. I'll just deal with it. What was I saying? Yeah, no, I spoke at both of their funerals, and I don't know if I did that because because I feel like I need to be seen. I need to be in front of things. I don't really know why, but I do know why, and it's that so many people in my family were taking it so hard and knew that they would not be able to say anything up there, that I needed to give a tribute to them. So for my grandpa's funeral, I read one of his poems. Grandpa was always an artist. His entire life, that not even that I knew him, just his entire life, he was always an artist. From wood carving to painting. There's a painting in their house that was dated with his name in 1941. And so he's always his entire life been an artist. And so one of the only things that I could think of that would be fitting of representing his life was to bring one more piece of his art into people's mind during his funeral. He even had recorded music that I had never heard before. Music that my dad and my uncle had recorded together. And so that was used in all the videos in his funeral. And it was so wonderfully him. It was so him. Yeah. And so on the other side, my grandma was lived her life for other people. Yeah, my grandma lived her life for other people. There wasn't a time that you would go over to her house and she wouldn't try to send food home with you, and she always loved on her guests. Something my brother-in-law said the other day really stuck out to me, and it's not really something that I would notice because I am a part of the family, but something that he said was that something that stood out about her to him was that she always made a point of making him feel like he was a part of the family. He was never separate. He never came second fiddle. And It's so true. The morning my grandma died, my dad and I were there for breakfast. She was a spry old woman. For all the problems that her body had and had gone through in the last couple years of her life, she was amazing. I know that she had lost some of her abilities, but as far as I could tell, that she hadn't lost anything before she died. No abilities, no strengths. I mean, she lost strength, but like she would still get down on the floor to play with her great-grandchildren and get back up without needing to crawl over to somewhere. Like, as someone in their 90s. This isn't something I realized until after her death and other people started playing host. She never minded the noise. In fact, she relished the noise of great-grandchildren. She relished young kids. There was always a space for them to be. They lived in a 55-plus community, and yet their house was still mostly set up for young kids to be there. She didn't have any breakable knickknacks or anything out within reach of small hands. It was beautiful. And that's something that the person who's hosted a lot of the events since then just didn't have. And it's just... She was so good at that. And so what I read at Grandma's funeral was Proverbs 31, 10 through 31, out of the Message translation, which that section is titled Hymn to a Good Wife, and it describes her perfectly. Something my mom was saying was that it, like, looking to apply it to herself, it's an impossible standard to have set for you, and yet Grandma filled it perfectly. Every single word she filled perfectly. part of the reason why I started thinking about why I was speaking at their funerals is that, for one, there were so few people who did speak, but for two, with my church group, we've been going through this book, The Heart of an Artist. And the sheer fact of the matter is that I am an artist in so many parts of my life, essentially all parts of my life, and I only have so many things that I can only so many parts of my life that I'd honestly say there's nothing in my life that book hasn't directly applied to. But part of that of what it's talking about, of to be a to be a godly artist, the first question, and essentially the place that all other questions come from, is why are you on stage? Will you step up in places other than the stage? Why are you on stage? And sure, that's not necessarily directly applicable, but it also is directly applicable. And so I think that the reason that I'm on stage is because I believe that somebody has to give these tributes. Somebody has to be there to make the funeral personal. 'Cause my understanding of funerals, the most beautiful funerals that I've been to, are ones where you walk away having learned more about the person than you knew going into it. And the family isn't necessarily going to have that experience. The family isn't necessarily going to have that experience, but for any guests, any guests outside the family, yeah, they should get to know the person better. And I believe that reading those tributes, reading what I did, gave people a different, deeper look into the person that I was trying to honor. A couple years ago, at around the start of COVID, one of my church's worship pastors, worship leaders, passed away. It wasn't unexpected. It had nothing to do with COVID. It was a battle that she had been fighting for years, and it was finally her time. I didn't know until sometime within last year that she had explicitly asked for me to be the drummer at her funeral. Hi, Micah. She had explicitly asked for me to drum at her funeral, which is such a massive honor to me because her entire family was musical, and she had I have no doubt that she had amazing drummers that she could have asked that would have happily dropped everything to come and drum for her funeral. But she asked me. I had taken it as an honor at the time because I felt I had that same feeling of there's so many other people that you probably could ask. I'm guessing that some people probably said no, they couldn't make it, and that's why it got to me. But it was still an honor to be able to drum, even if I was second, third, fourth in line, whatever it was. Before these two funerals, actually, feels kind of harsh to say this, but before my grandma's funeral, that was the hardest funeral that I had ever attended or been a part of. Partially because I was on stage the whole time, sitting in the drum cage. And trying not to cry sitting there, just living through these moments of her life, but knowing that I'm on stage and that anything I'm doing people are looking at. My grandma's funeral was harder. Yeah, I did have a good relationship with her. In fact, her brother had been one of the people who actually got me to be confident enough to play drums, and she continued that. For some reason, one day after I played at church, her brother, and it might have even been the first day I ever played at my current church, her brother came up to me and said, you did a good job. You did a good job. And I don't remember the exact words he said, but and I didn't know him at all, but there was something about the way he said it that I couldn't not take it to heart. And that was such a confidence booster in that time for me that I believe that is the reason why I kept drumming, why I didn't stop as soon as the church had gotten someone to replace me. She continued that influence in my life even after he died. Hi, Tikutan. Welcome to the stream. Today is not a particularly joyful stream, but at the same time, it's a celebration of life. My grandpa, I said my grandpa used to do wood carving before he just wasn't strong enough to do it anymore. As I was going through the house and looking for the things that I wanted to be inheriting, I found out that there was a partially done carving that has been sitting on his desk for who knows how long. I honestly have no idea. But I have inherited that partially done piece along with my grandpa's hand carving tools, the entire set of them. And so part of what I want to do to honor them is to finish that piece. Even if I don't end up making anything special, even if it's not, even if it's terrible, that's not what matters. What matters is that I will get to finish this thing that was started being created by my grandfather's hand, and I will get to finish it. And it'll be a long, slow process, because wood carving always is. But that'll give me time to work through memories and just think on who he was. He didn't really make too many toys, as far as I know. I know he did. I have a chessboard that I made with him, a chess set to go with it that he made for me. And I have a music box that he made for me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And so I don't know. That's beautiful. I feel over time I'm gonna have more to say. I'm getting lost right now. something that my grandparents did with me and all the other grandchildren as we grew up was they went camping with us. A week or two every summer, we'd go camping. So, like, we went to Royal Gorge Bridge and Park and like followed a section of the who am I looking for? Lewis and Clark. There we go. We followed a part of Lewis and Clark's path through America. There were always things to do, always things planned. They kept us busy. But it was beautiful. It was a wonderful time with them. And there'd always be projects. I don't know if I still have anything that I made during that time. At least if I do, I don't know where it's at. But I made the memories, and those are still here. I start saying something, and then 17 other memories appear, and yeah, camping donuts. If you have access to canned biscuits, frying them is how you make camping donuts. Then you toss them in cinnamon sugar or whatever topping you want. You can spread frosting on them. Oh, hey, Damien. Yeah, you do stuff like that, and they're some of the best donuts I've ever had in my life. It's delicious. Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. So the town I live in right now, there were a lot of reasons for me to move back here after college. I went to college in another town, but there were a lot of reasons for me to move back here after college. But the biggest of those reasons was so that I could spend as much time with my grandparents as possible. And almost every single Saturday, since moving home, I went to eat breakfast with them and got to spend so much time with them. And I honestly don't believe that I wasted a single moment within reason. And so I succeeded. I succeeded in what I tasked myself with doing, and now at some point I might move on, move somewhere else, but not without reason. Family's still important to me, but you know, I'm very lucky I got to spend time with them. It was the most important thing. Now, during the during the trying to say during the funeral, one of the hardest things, and I hadn't noticed this until the funeral itself, even though I'd watched this video multiple times before to help my mom with it. But the thing that hit me the hardest was seeing that a picture of my brother, his wife, and my grandma together at his wedding. And that hit me so hard because my future wife, the woman that I'll spend the rest of my life with, will never get to know my grandma. Will never get to know her besides my memories, and that's those pale in comparison to the person and I know I haven't been pushing hard to find them. I haven't been looking, honestly. And because of that choice, I always knew that this was the likely outcome, was that they and my children would never get to know, that she'd never get to know my grandma, and that my children would never get to know their great grandmother. But the fact is that that until she died, there was always a chance. There was a chance that they would. A chance that I'd find the person who would end up being my wife and be able to introduce them to my grandma, and I know. I know that that's true. And that since I'm going through this process now, by the time I meet her, things are going to be different. My heart is going to be in a different place than it is right now, and I'll have different focuses. But today, right now, that fact is the most overwhelming part of her death to me. It's the part that I have latched onto, at least. Because I at least have the memories, and I can live those memories vicariously. But they won't have those memories, and they'll only have stories. And stories are close to memories, but they're not the same thing. You're not a part of the stories that you're told. I don't think I can really talk much longer. But there's one more story that I want everyone to know. And I mean everyone. In my grandpa's last days, when he was in the hospital, my grandma was devastated because her experience up to that point had been that grandpa made the decisions, but if there was something that she thought was important that she felt he made the wrong decision on, she could always make him change his mind. But at that time, with Grandpa on his deathbed, she couldn't make him change his mind that he didn't want anything more done to him, that he was done being treated, that he was ready to die. She couldn't make him change his mind from that. And that was eating away at her and had her even to the point of thinking that my grandpa wasn't recognizing her. Which, knowing the circumstances, wouldn't have been unreasonable. He couldn't breathe and was refusing a ventilator and was doing, you get how people on their way to palliative care only are. Or at least can be. But on one of the last days that Grandpa was alive, I wasn't there, but this is a story that my mom relayed to me. My grandma, all of the sudden, said excitedly that he knows it's me. He knows I'm here. He knows it's me. And so she explained to my mom that that through their entire life between them, they had shared a physical touch of 3 hand squeezes, meaning I love you. And then one would squeeze 3 times, and the other would reply with 3 squeezes. And I think the story of where that came from was something along the lines of, in church you're not allowed to talk. So if I wanted to just let him know that I loved him right then and there, I would squeeze his hand 3 times, and he would squeeze back, and that just became a thing between us. Now, Grandpa at that time had, even if he was cognizant, he just couldn't physically talk. He was, at least nothing really recognizable. He was very phlegmy and just gurgly, the things that a body does when it's dying. But she squeezed his hand 3 times, and he squeezed back, and from that point on, it was okay. What Grandma was still sad, but it was okay what was going on, because Grandpa wasn't refusing to change his mind because he didn't recognize that it was her. He was refusing to change his mind because it wasn't her decision to make. Not that one. Not that decision. And so that is something that when I find her, that I'm going to share that story with my wife and share that with her. Because in honor of my grandparents, you never know when something will take away your ability to communicate. And so building up methods of communication that work with the minimal amount of strength possible is such a huge thing, because God only knows. Because God only knows what's in store for your tomorrow. Yeah. I think there'll be more of these at some point when I can get my thoughts in order again and talk about things some more. But I think that's about as much as my still scattered brain can get through today. Thank you for stopping by and taking part of this little bit that I can do to honor my grandma and grandpa. To spread their story in whatever ways I can. I don't know if I will stream tomorrow. I expect that I'll get back on my regular schedule next week, but but until next time, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of my family, I suppose. Whatever this is. But until then, until next time. Don't take any day for granted. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.